Alrighty. So you think you want a MECHMAXX sawmill, huh? Well, let me go over the things that I've gone through with the machine, okay? I think it's a good machine if you put it together correctly, if you do the necessary maintenance and you pay attention, okay? When you first get this machine, you're gonna get it in a crate and you're going to have to put it together, obviously. The power head, everything comes bolted up with a blade on it. You get one blade with the machine. I didn't have to do any adjustments with the wheels right off. When I say the wheels, I mean the tracking wheels. Right now I do not have a blade on it because I'm fixing to tighten the belt by shifting the engine over. But what I want to go through some things that you're going to need to do when you purchase one of these. Now mine looks a little different. This is the SM36 Max is what it is. They make a SM36, or they used to. I think they quit making it. Now they make the SM36 Max. I like the machine. I've made some changes. Came with a little hose, had some air hose, heavy duty air hose, and I installed that. I got rid of the plastic cage, partly because it hung down and would catch on big logs. Well, this is a 36-inch mill. I want to be able to mill 36-inch things. So what I did here is I've got a switch panel, I've got a battery kill switch, and I've installed a hour meter. I've only run this machine a couple hours. I do not have this hooked up yet because I just installed it when it came in. I put a 4-gallon water tank on here. Now this is a fuel tank, okay, but it is about $100. I put that on there. Getting it up higher than having it down here gives you more pressure for your water, all right? And that helps out, especially if you forget to turn this on for a few seconds. You may get sawdust in the hole. That helps push that sawdust out when you do turn it on. Put a valve here. I've got a engine start switch. The engine, what I didn't like with that other water system, that had a cage bolted right here, so you couldn't reach in here and turn it on like you should be able to. All right, now I'm gonna move my choke out here, but right now I've got a drill hooked up for the up and down. My scale is actually behind this because I lowered it all the way down earlier because of the cables. That's something else I want to go into as far as when you first get your machine. This is a problem that I had. I got everything set up. I believe it's the longer cable. I mean, that would make sense because it's on the other side of the machine from the other cable. But this is what raises the cutter head up and down, all right? These two cables, this one and this one. You have a rod back here in the back, or a piece of tubing that extends in and out when you run your crank handle up and down. That's what raises this up and down. Now, this being the longer cable, you're gonna have a little more stretch to it, all right? When I first set this machine up, everything was dead on. And I noticed the other day, I was milling some boards all the way down to the bed, and I was like, man, this is kind of weird. One side thicker than the other. Well, that was the problem, all right? You don't notice that as much when you're milling off the top of a log because each board's gonna be the same thickness until you get to the last board and you got a board at the bottom, and one side, it's flat on the bottom of the bed of the sawmill, but if you're cutting at an angle, it shows up in a big way. What had happened is this cable had stretched. So what I suggest if you purchase one of these sawmills, okay, and this is no fault of the sawmill whatsoever, or MECHMAXX, when you purchase one of these, your cables need to be hooked up, okay? And I bring my saw head, that's why I'm inside. Okay, my saw head's in my shop here. I've got the saw head. I bring it in every day that I use it. And right now I've got a mess because I cleaned out, took the old blade off. I'm gonna put a new blade on. Finally got some blades in the mail yesterday from MECHMAXX. But what I'm trying to get at here is these stretch, and what you need to do is make sure that these are unlocked on both sides. When you first put your sawmill together, let this power head hang on these cables at least overnight, if not for a week, okay? And then come adjust them. If you don't, you're gonna have some issues, I'm telling you. When I bought this machine, I did not buy it with the Honda engine, because the Honda engine cost about $2,000, and the whole setup with this engine cost $2,000 more for the Honda. Wasn't gonna spend that when, I mean, what are they getting these engines for free? So think about that, I guess. So I love the sawmill so far. I would recommend that you keep an eye on these cables. I need to cut this cable off with a grinding wheel so that it lays in that like it's supposed to, because that one seems to build up. The rest of them do not, and that keeps the sawdust out of those wheels. All right, so as far as setting up, I'm gonna set y'all right here. So as far as setting up your sawmill for success, okay, what you're gonna wanna do is, with these, all right, this pin right here goes all the way through to the back side, okay? And that's where your water comes in. That's what this, it looks like a grease zerk with a ball, that's missing the ball in it, all right? That's where your water comes out. You have a rub block here, and you have another one on the bottom, okay? Right there. Now, somebody's gonna say, oh, well, them grooves are upside down. Well, yes, you're right, they are. But I put grooves in the other side of it because this one was wearing odd, because I did not adjust these when I got the machine. I assumed that it was ready to go, and it may have been to an extent, but I highly suggest that you adjust these blocks, okay? There's two of them, and fine tune them. If you're not gonna do the roller system right away, I know that there's some companies out there you can spend a couple $100 or whatever, and to get the roller systems, these wear blocks, you can reflatten them, I guess, but or you can buy new ones for about $50. I think you get 4 of them for $50. They're a steel of some sort. I don't know what kind of steel, but you have 3 Allen screws, set screws. You got one here, here, and here for each block. So you got 6 on this one and 6 on this one. You need to put a piece of paper. What I suggest is you take a piece of paper, notebook paper, fold it over the blade, okay, and run it in here with this one loose and this one loose. All right, get your top one set on there, and with your notebook paper, because you want a thickness of notebook paper on the top of your blade, on the bottom of the blade, and on the back of the blade, because there is a roller bearing that is back there as well, that the blade, when it bumps against it, can roll against. All right. Something else, I found some blades. This takes a 175-inch blade. I purchased some aftermarket blades because I was having trouble getting my other blades from MECHMAXX, and they are not quite as wide. So I've been having some problems with some wavy cuts. If they're not extremely sharp, the blades aren't as good as what MECHMAXX are, which is very surprising, but it's the truth. And you need to keep in mind that these machines are designed to run with their equipment. So if the measurements of the blades, okay, are not the same, and I'm going to show you, this is a blade that I purchased from another company, okay? I bought 10 of them, and I'm going to put them together. This is a MECHMAXX blade, okay, that I have dulled on accident. But you see how much wider the MECHMAXX blade is than these blades. That causes a problem. This is a wide sawmill. The wider your blade, the straighter your cut should be, essentially. And with this sawmill, this is as far over as I can get this support arm, okay? Without pushing the support arm up inside here. You have two set screws. You got one here and you've got one here, all right, to dog that down with so that it stays the way it's supposed to. I actually took the handle off of this, that way I can shove this in farther. Now, I'm going to extend this at some point. I just haven't done that yet. Something else very important, to set your torque for your blade, go get you a click type torque wrench. I just throw it in the bunk of my sawmill. It's out there right now. And always at the end of the day, loosen your T-handle, okay? You retighten it every day. You're gonna stretch your blade, you're gonna ruin your belts. It just is what it is. So if there's a gap here, you're not pushed in as far as you can go. When you go to tighten it up after you put your new blade on, you can pull that, which that came way farther than it had to, but you can pull that to tighten up your blade, and then you can spin this down. And once you get it snug, it's important, get your torque wrench, okay? And I've got mine set to 30 foot-pounds, and get it set, get it right. That's what we're looking at here as far as your tires, your wheels. You know, you've got a tire here that is essentially a V-belt, and you also have your drive belt here that is going to get it, is getting to where it needs to be. Mine is getting to where it needs to be replaced, I believe. And it is what it is. So get everything set up. Make sure that when you adjust these wheels, there's an adjustment back here on the back, okay, right here. This one is a little more tricky than the other side to me. It may not be for other people, but the other one I had adjusted like that, and this one is like I was pissing in the wind. So, but this right here, you want to make sure that you're adjusted correctly, because if you're not adjusted correctly, this belt is going to wear on this idler pulley here. Really, in my opinion, this idler pulley should be out a little farther than what it is. So, we may put a spacer on there, may not. I don't know if you've seen this, but this is actually a switch. Listen. So when you close these hoods, okay, it pushes this in, all right, so that the engine will start. The engine will not start if these are up. It'll die if you raise them up. It's very important. One more important tip. This bar right here, I don't know what they call it. I don't care what they call it, okay? But if you will, when you're milling a log, unless you want to join I cut my log stop bunks off group, which I am a pretty good member of, because I've been pretty good at hitting them jokers lately for some reason. What I've found is if you will take this and pivot it down, okay? If you'll pivot that down about right in there, maybe out just a little more, there's a bolt back here where you can loosen it up. Take this, fold it out a little bit, and it will hit the first log stop before your blade does. and it'll stop you. Now, it's not going to help you when you get down to your block stops that are on your bunks. You're going to have to bend this back out. You just have to remember that if that's something. But I highly suggest, if you're a new sawmill owner, get this set to where it will hit your log stop, or you're going to be buying new blades, I promise you, or sharpening or something. But anyway, there you have it. I just wanted, I hadn't seen a video like this on YouTube, and I wanted to show some of the different things that you need to do to make sure that these are right. And I know I mentioned earlier about putting a piece of paper in here. What I did when I adjusted these, what I did was I loosened both of them, and I took them out and looked at them. This top one was wore funny, so I flipped it over, cut a couple grooves in it, and put it back in. That way I knew it was flat. And then what I did was I tensioned my blade to the correct tension, and then I came over here and I pushed the bottom block up just till it touched the blade, and I tightened it up. And I did the same thing with this one. Pushed it up till it just touched the bottom of the blade. And then I come over here and I tightened up my set screws on the bottom. The top one, I then slid a piece of paper on top of my block, or on top of my blade, and pushed my block down tight against that paper, because the paper had some wrinkles in it. Pushed the block down tight against the paper, and I tightened these set screws slowly all the way around, because they will kind of tilt, and if you don't do them correctly and slowly, like you would alternating, putting lug nuts on a truck rim, you're going to end up with them crooked. So I did that on both sides, and then I came back and pulled my paper out and loosened the bottom ones. Now the top ones are set correctly. I'll loosen the bottom ones, put a piece of paper in there, push them up to where they were snug, and slowly tighten these, okay? After I did that, it ran pretty darn good until I figured out that I was cutting on an angle because I didn't let my cables stretch before final adjustment. So that is really important to adjust these. When you get it, let the machine hang on the cables. That's what brings it up and down. Let it hang on the cables for a couple days to a week, you know, at least overnight, and then adjust it. But be sure that you do let those cables do some stretching. I know I'm long-winded, and I hope you enjoyed the video, as much movement as there was. And I'm gonna try to make some more videos with this piece of equipment. I hope it helps, I really do. And again, this is trying to show folks that don't have the ability or the information that they need to get their sawmill set up for success. If you want to set it up for success, do these things. If you're having issues, do these things. If your blade's tracking weird, do these things. Make sure your blade is sharp above all. If your fingernail, your thumbnail isn't catching on your blade teeth, you know, you can skip check it, you know, check every 2 or 3 and keep going around. And sometimes you'll see burrs on a blade, especially if you run into your damn log stops like I do. So y'all be good, and hope you enjoyed.